Good Thursday evening and welcome to the NCWLIFE Evening News. I'm Grant Olson. Before we get to today's top news stories, let's take a quick look outside that much cooler weather window from this afternoon as we look the other direction from our Omi Garden Sky-Fi tower camera. And thanks to Localtel providing this great shot looking back up the Columbia River at Rocky Reach Dam, and you can see we did see some clouds out there today. It was cooler, noticeably cooler in most locations, mainly mid to upper 80s, 93 our official high temperature yesterday, so things did cool down somewhat today, and we are going to continue that trend, but we are seeing some windy conditions in parts of our viewing area too, especially along the Waterville Plateau and also in the Columbia Basin. Winds today about 10 to 20 miles an hour. I think they'll be a little bit stronger on Friday. In fact, in the Wenatchee Valley, we could see some wind on Friday too. I don't think we'll see gusts to 30 to 35 miles an hour like our neighbors, but Wenatchee Valley will see a breeze on Friday, and we're going to stay with those cooler than normal temperatures, and we'll talk much more about that coming up in your weather forecast a little bit later on. And now a few of the stories we're following for you tonight. A man with a criminal record in Washington, Oregon, and California is now accused of identity thefts and methamphetamine distribution throughout the Wenatchee Valley. A rural Eniat woman who drew a handgun during a confrontation with a hunter was sentenced yesterday to 10 days in jail. And Canine Chewbacca nabbed another wanted felon Tuesday morning in Moses Lake. More on that coming up. But first we begin tonight. A Spokane man in his 60s died of an apparent medical condition while hiking yesterday in the Colchuck Lake area of the Enchantments. Jason Reinfeld of the Chelan County Sheriff's Office said the man's identity is being withheld until his family is notified. About 6:15 p.m., officials were alerted by an in-reach device about a medical emergency involving a man who was found with no pulse near the lake. A doctor on the scene was unable to revive him. Airlift Northwest was also unable to reach the man Tuesday night, so Wednesday morning the Sheriff's Office sent in crews to bring the victim down. A man with a criminal record in Washington, Oregon, and California is now accused of identity thefts and methamphetamine distribution throughout the Wenatchee Valley. Bruno Paul Rugeberg, who's 52, faces possible drug and weapons charges, as well as a count of leading organized crime for allegedly selling large amounts of meth to smaller dealers and then directing at least 3 other people in a scheme to create fraudulent credit cards. The Columbia River Drug Task Force says they tracked Rugeberg for months before his arrest on Tuesday, working with police agencies in Snohomish and King counties. They allegedly found multiple phony ID cards, computer equipment, and packages of meth and heroin in his vehicle, plus illicit firearms in a Wenatchee storage locker. Police say Rugeberg and his group worked out of local hotels and charged more than $12,000 on false credit cards. More arrests and charges are expected. Well, a rural Eniat woman who drew a handgun during a confrontation with a hunter was sentenced yesterday to 10 days in jail. Donna Jean Jones, who's 65, already spent 6 days in jail after her arrest in November when she and her adult son encountered the hunters scouting for deer near their property on Crum Canyon Road. Her son drew a knife, the hunter drew a pistol, and then Jones drew her own handgun. No one was hurt in the incident. Jones pleaded guilty to 4th-degree assault. Her son, pictured here, 42-year-old Jesse Lee Jones, pleaded guilty to harassment and assault back in February. He was sentenced to 3 months in jail. Well, he did it again. Canine Chewbacca nabbed another wanted felon Tuesday morning in Moses Lake. As a 22-year-old Marco A. Garcia of Moses Lake, who was wanted on several charges, was spotted by Chewbacca's handler, Corporal Nick Overland, at about 6:45 a.m., walking along Airway Drive. The Grant County Sheriff's Office said Garcia tried to hide in some weeds, but Chewbacca tracked him down and held him for deputies. Garcia was treated at Samaritan Healthcare for injuries he received in that encounter, and then was lodged into the Grant County Jail on felony warrants for burglary, 4th-degree assault, domestic violence, obstructing law enforcement, and probation violation. By the way, just over a week ago, Chewbacca chased down another wanted felon in Moses Lake who unsuccessfully attempted to flee. 34-year-old Ryan David Lee also needed to be treated for injuries before being booked into the jail. Well, coming up next, level 3 evacuation orders remain in place for more than 80 homes near the Palmer fire burning southwest of Oroville. The state yesterday ordered Brewster-based Geber Farms to test thousands of its employees for COVID-19. And an Interstate 90 repair project near the summit of Snoqualmie Pass that caused traffic backups of more than 7 miles this week has been completed ahead of schedule. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News.
At Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
Traditional values and innovation in honoring the life of each family we serve is part of the ministry of Heritage Memorial Chapel. Our staff is committed to walk with your family with compassion through this time of grief. We are here to help and here to serve, the right kind of help when you need it most. Heritage Memorial Chapel.
Pybus Public Market's motto is where community meets. Whether it's people, enjoying an event, or they meet a colleague for coffee and whip out their laptop and are able to actually do work here, having quick and reliable Wi-Fi is one of the things that makes Pybus such a great community hub. It just contributes to the welcoming place that we want Pybus to be. I'm Allie, and fiber keeps people connected, and that's what Pybus Market is all about.
Welcome back. In another news, level 3 evacuation orders remain in place for more than 80 homes near the Palmer fire that's burning 7 miles southwest of Oroville. The fire, which started Tuesday afternoon, has burned more than 6,000 acres. Air and ground crews are primarily working on structure protection as they attempt to slow the rapid growth of the fire in multiple directions. It's become one of the largest of numerous wildfires to break out in Okanagan County this summer. Well, the state on Wednesday ordered Brewster-based Geber's Farms to test thousands of its employees for COVID-19. In addition, Governor Jay Inslee announced new testing rules for all agricultural companies. Secretary of Health John Weisman said Geber's Farms, one of the largest tree fruit companies in the world, has previously been issued 2 orders of immediate restraint for not allowing health and safety rules for its approximately 4,500 workers. Weisman said if an employee refuses to be tested, they'll not be allowed to return to work. Inslee's proclamation will require all agricultural companies to broadly test their workforce if health officials identify an outbreak of 9 or more COVID-19 cases at a facility. Weisman said Geber's Farms must immediately begin testing and have it completed over the next 2 weeks.
Geber's Farms in Brewster is one of those agricultural industries farms that have had a large number of cases. At the end of July, there was over 120 positive cases of COVID and over 150 employees who had had symptoms during a period of time, and 3 workers had died of this. So a very serious situation there. So today, I issued earlier today orders that all of the employees at Geber's Farms be tested for COVID-19 within the next 2 weeks. And so starting tomorrow, staff will be out in Okanagan County working with Geber's Farms to ensure that we're able to have everyone tested. The state will provide the testing resources and supplies and paying for the test to help make that happen.
An Interstate 90 repair project near the summit of Snoqualmie Pass that caused traffic backups of more than 7 miles this week has been completed ahead of schedule. The Washington State Department of Transportation said in just over 70 hours, crews were able to remove 42 broken concrete panels and 600 tons of debris and lay 520 tons of asphalt in the eastbound lane of the interstate at the Stampede Pass interchange. The work had been expected to extend into Friday. You're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News. Coming up next, tonight's feature story and your complete local weather forecast. That and much more still to come on the NCWLIFE Evening News. Please stay with us.
Nissan is the value leader in new cars and SUVs. Check out these new models starting at under $20,000. The all-new Versa from $17,020. The all-new Sentra from $17,400. And the all-new Kicks from $17,995. Now you can have the Nissan style, performance, and reliability, all for under $20,000.
And they're all here at Town Nissan, up behind Costco in East Wenatchee.
So Pam, how's your mom doing?
She's okay. She's struggling. She'd like to stay in her house, and it's getting harder for her to do the daily chores.
What kinds of problems is she having?
Just basic house cleaning, you know, taking care of her house, yard work, taking care of her medicine.
Mm-hmm. It does sound exhausting.
It is very exhausting, and I always worry about her.
Aging and Adult Care can assist you or your loved one to remain comfortably and safely in their own home. Contact them today to start the conversation.
Hi, Stephen DeVilbus here, Branch Manager of Beneficial and Home Care. We are an equal opportunity employer and we do not discriminate in employment or services. It is our mission to maximize our clients' physical health and sense of mental well-being while remaining in the comfort of their home. We are currently seeking professional caregivers who share our mission to help our clients live safely and comfortably at home. Call Beneficial and Home Care. Schedule your interview today, 509-663-7900.
Welcome back to the NCWLIFE Evening News. The city of East Wenatchee on Tuesday approved a plan to assign mandatory body cameras to all its police officers while they're on patrol. The 5-year contract with the police technology company Axon will cost almost $90,000 and lease 19 cameras for the city's patrol force. In tonight's feature story, East Wenatchee would have the first police department in the Wenatchee Valley to mandate body cameras for all its officers. Chief Rick Johnson, who took command of the force this year, explained the project to NCWLIFE's Jefferson Robbins.
So we currently have a body cam program that I believe started about 2014 or 15, but we didn't have enough cameras for everybody. There had not been an agreement negotiated with the union to wear them every time. So they were optional, for lack of a better term. So what we were trying to do was we want to do mandatory body cams for our uniform staff. And so we need to increase our lease significantly, double it for the equipment, and then get the training and the union contract in line with having mandatory cams. Our officers do not currently have dash cams in the vehicles. The other agencies have a dash camera system. Most of them have an external microphone that they wear to record conversations outside the car, but the limitations of the camera in the car only. So for us, it was make a choice of go one way or the other. Was it going to be dash cams or body cameras? So Axon's the company. There is specific policy on when they'll be activated and when they won't. I think the easiest way for the public to think of is when the officers are in contact with the public, traffic stop, field contact, any type of in-progress call, domestic violence or otherwise, the cameras will be activated. There is a portion of our policy that allows for, if the officer is comfortable, meaning it's a situation that is appearing calm and safe, and the citizen asks to not be recorded, the officer does have the discretion to comply with that request and turn the camera off. But if it is, say, an elevated situation, the officer also has the discretion to not turn the camera off. But they do, whenever practical, they do make an advisement that they're being audio and visual recorded.
If I'm an officer with East Wenatchee Police, what I'm going to have now is a lapel camera that's running essentially my entire shift, unless that circumstance calls for me to turn it off at the request of a civilian. Is that right?
That's correct. And actually, so they're about the size of a cell phone. They're a little bit smaller, mounted on the front of their vest or their shirt. The device is actually running all the time. It is actually recording video all the time, not recording audio all the time. But if it is activated and by the officer, it can go back and save the 30 seconds prior to ever being activated. The video is labeled whatever the type of call is, and that determines the retention of the video. But some of the shortest retention would be on a traffic stop that didn't equal a citation or an infraction. Those videos are retained 90 days.
Now you have body cameras on hand right now. When would it become effective for all officers to be using them on a mandatory basis?
Yeah, I would say probably about, just my personal observation, but probably about 50% of our guys are choosing to wear them now. And I'm being told it's a 1 to 2 month lag time from when the lease is signed to when the equipment shows up. So when the equipment shows up, it's a 4-hour training that the company provides to your officers, and then we will get them out on the streets. So hopefully we're looking at, mid-October, mid-November.
Let's take a look now at your North Central Washington weather forecast, and it was a much cooler day today. We'll get to the details of what we can expect as we get into the end of the week and into the upcoming weekend. But first, outside the weather window we go from this afternoon, and this is what it looked like looking back up at Rocky Reach Dam right here and looking up the Columbia River. A few clouds out there today, some mid and both high-level clouds today, and that kept our temperature down somewhat, but really it still wasn't a bad day. Unofficial high 86, and right before the news, it jumped up to 87. So 87 so far, our unofficial high temperature today, and that's just a couple of degrees above where we should be at 85 for this time of year. 71 was our overnight low this morning, well above where we should be for low temperatures, 60s normal. 102, our record high back in 1977, record low 46 from 1968. Sunrise 6:05, sunset tonight will be at 8:02. Let's take a look at how our Thursday will shape up now as we get in towards the end of the week, and things will be a lot like today, temperature-wise, that's for sure, with mostly upper 80s, especially Moses Lake and Ephrata. Quincy, 88 degrees tomorrow. Wenatchee will be about 87, 86 for you folks in Kashmir. Eniat, 87, and up into Omak, another warm one for you, but still not bad for this time of year at 88 degrees. Let's take a look at the surface loop now, and tonight, we will see mostly clear skies, just a light breeze out there tonight, so really not a bad night. It'll stay on the mild side too, with overnight lows about 5 to 10 degrees above where we should be, with just lots of clear skies all over the western United States. Get ready for a little bit of wind. We talked about that at the start of the newscast. Breezy tomorrow right here in central and especially north central Washington, and a few showers moving into the western part of the state. Fortunately, it's not going to get over to us, so most of that rain will stay that way. And then a ridge of high pressure begins to build back in on Saturday as we kick off the weekend. A little bit cooler with highs right here only in the lower to mid 80s and even some 60s into the Cascades on Saturday, but then things rebound nicely. Our temperatures, that is, on Sunday with sunny skies. It will be warmer with temperatures, and you can see a little darker orange now on Sunday. Temperatures near 90 degrees as we get back into Sunday, and then we'll stay warm on Monday with a little bit of a breeze as well. I don't think as breezy as we're going to see tomorrow, but still just a little bit of wind out there on Monday. Mostly sunny and warm with highs on Monday in the lower 90s, so back above normal once again as we get into next week. For our Tuesday, we'll see sunny skies. Temperatures will remain above normal with clear skies all over the Pacific Northwest, and there's those beautiful orange colors indicating about 90 degrees. We'll see that Tuesday. Same goes for Wednesday with sunny skies. It'll be warm with high temperatures right around that 90-degree mark. Let's take a look now at your Patriot Plumbing, Heating and Cooling 7-day forecast tonight. A little bit cooler, but still mild. 65 overnight, 87 tomorrow with a few isolated showers. Keep that in mind at times in the afternoon. A little bit breezy too. 84 on Saturday, 89 as we end our weekend on Sunday, and then back into the 90s for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday with sunshine and highs right around that 90-degree mark. And that's a look at your local weather forecast. Coming up next, tonight's sports report with Eric Granstrom and more as the NCWLIFE Evening News continues right after this.
The two hottest pickups in America are at Town Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. First, the Ram 1500 with back-to-back Truck of the Year awards from Motor Trend, and now the Car and Driver 10 Best list for 2020. They call it a luxury sedan with pickup capabilities. Ram is on a roll now with third-generation eco-diesel power. Next up, the Jeep Gladiator, also a 2020 10 Best model based on the new award-winning Jeep Wrangler. It has options and capabilities that no other truck can offer. Two more reasons when it comes to buying a truck: there's no reason to leave town.
Family roles change with time. You may find yourself being an unpaid caregiver to a loved one. Caregiving can be rewarding, but also stressful. Taking care of yourself is vital. Aging and Adult Care of Central Washington has low or no cost services for unpaid caregivers, such as in-home support, care supplies, and counseling. Connect in your local area by calling Aging and Adult Care at 800-572-4459 and mention you're interested in caregiver support. And now it's a sports update on the NCWLIFE channel.
And a happy Thursday to you. Home field advantage will not be a thing for the Seahawks until possibly November this season. The team announced today that the first 3 home games will be played without fans at CenturyLink Field due to the COVID-19 pandemic. That means a Sunday night game against New England in Week 2, a game against Dallas in Week 3, and Minnesota in Week 5 will be fanless. In a statement, the Seahawks said, quote, "While CenturyLink Field has become the best home field advantage in the league, thanks to the energy and passion of the 12s, the health and safety of all of our fans, players, and staff remain our top priority," end quote. The first game where fans could potentially attend at CenturyLink would be November 1st against San Francisco. Well, meanwhile, training camp continues as Seattle ramps up towards a scrimmage Saturday at CenturyLink Field. Coach Pete Carroll says they're going to treat this as much like a preseason game as possible.
What we're going to do is we're going to get a really good test on the first couple weeks of work, and see who knows what, and see if guys are commanding the, their stuff on offense and defense, and the tempo and the exchanges that we make going in and out, substitutions, all that kind of stuff to make us really sharp game time when it comes up. Wednesday will be the next really big shot for us when we come back around and go to the stadium again. So this is kind of like the first preseason game for us and trying to get everything organized and get off to a good start.
Now, with the added pressure of no preseason games to evaluate younger players, Carroll says there's a tendency to try too hard to make a big play.
That factor of over-trying, the factor of trying too hard or trying to make things happen, when they're really not there, is one of the biggest faults in performance. I mean, it's not matching the opportunity with what's called for. You try to do things for the wrong reasons. And whenever you do that, you really make yourself vulnerable to giving up plays and making mistakes and errors and all that. So. And it doesn't matter what the factor is. You're talking about maybe it's contract year, maybe it's the last play, or maybe it was what happened in the game last week or whatever, and guys try to come back and do stuff. And whenever they get outside of how they've been prepared and the expectations of the position, and then sometimes they may make stuff up and try technically different things, you're making yourself vulnerable. So it's really it's such a good question, because this is about trusting the preparation, trusting what you know about yourself, trusting the coaching that's come your way, trusting that you have a role to play for the guys on the field, the rest of the guys on the field and the team and all of that. All of that comes into play so guys don't over-try and they don't make stuff up and they don't play outside of themselves. It's when we try to be something that we're not is when we really falter and fail. So it's a really good question, because that's a huge part of performance.
The battle continues in securing a starting offensive line. Left tackle Dwayne Brown says he's been very impressed so far with rookie Damien Lewis.
For a rookie to come in, number one, I think he, in the Zoom meetings, like I said, he didn't have a typical rookie offseason, and he had to learn everything at home, and he was able to really retain a lot of information and be able to see him physically in practice. One-on-ones, he's been stellar, and we have a good group of D linemen as well, and those guys get after it, make us work, and he has a lot of ability. He's strong, plays with great leverage, he can move well. So that's been probably the biggest. So like I said, we have a lot of guys that have been standing out, but from him stepping in as a rookie, his first NFL action, he's been the guy for me.
Looks like Lewis will be securing the right guard position while Brandon Shell will be starting at right tackle. Big question still at center with Ethan Posick battling B.J. Finney and Kyle Fuller for the starting job. Seahawks will have one more practice tomorrow before their scrimmage Saturday at Central League Field. You can watch the live practice tomorrow on Q13 at 1 o'clock, also at Seahawks.com. Well, so far, 26 drivers and crews have signed up to race in the Hobby Stock Challenge Saturday, presented by Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning. We're talking about Wenatchee Valley Super Oval. Total of 54 cars and trucks have signed up to race so far this weekend. Manager Jeremy Anders expecting more as we get closer. There'll be a practice tomorrow afternoon with the racetrack going hot at 5 o'clock. Of course, we'll begin our live coverage at 6 Saturday right here on the NCWLIFE channel. Well, Taijuan Walker survived 3 solo home runs, and the Mariners snapped a 7-game losing streak by downing the Dodgers' 6-4 final at T-Mobile Park last night after allowing homers to Max Muncy and Jacques Peterson in the second and Cody Bellinger in the third. Walker settled down to retire the next 12 batters in a row. He said he felt good to go 7 innings and help Seattle get a win.
That's what I threw that they hit the home runs on. They weren't perfect pitches, but it just seemed like they were just started sitting fastballs in. So we made an adjustment and said, let's just start throwing more off speed. Let's start pitching backwards, and that's what we did. And I was able to land my off speed pitches for strikes, still get ahead with it, and show the fastball just out of the zone, but really just attack with the off speed pitches. And it was fun. It was nice making that adjustment mid game like that, and recognizing it early. Nola did an amazing job behind the plate. We switched up the game plan, and we executed really well.
Two teams wrapping up the 4-game home-at-home series today at T-Mobile Park. Yusei Kikuchi battling Clayton Kershaw. Real quick on the American League West scoreboard from last night as we open up the Les Schwab scoreboard. Kyle Tucker led a 20-hit barrage by going 4 for 5 with a home run and 4 ribbies. Houston blasted Colorado 13-6. Manny Machado hit a grand slam walk-off home run to power San Diego over Texas 6-3 in 10 innings. Mark Cannes make that Cannes 2-run home run helped Oakland snap a little losing streak as the A's beat the Arizona Diamondbacks 4-1, and Wilmer Flores 3-run home run powered San Francisco over the Angels 7-2. That's sports. I'm Eric Grandstrom. Grant, back to you.
Thanks a bunch, Eric. And as we leave you tonight, Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife wolf specialist Ben Maletsky tells the story of the first wolf he ever radio collared called 32M, the patriarch of the Teanaway wolf pack who recently died of old age.
32M was the breeding male of the Teanaway pack. He was the first wolf to reestablish a pack in the Central Cascades in 100 years. He first came on the scene in 2011 when pictures and videos of him, like this one, were picked up on remote game cameras by the United States Forest Service and Western Transportation Institute. So we knew he'd been there for a while before I encountered him in person. Other videos and pictures captured over the years show 32M with some of the many pups he fathered that helped with the ongoing recovery of wolves in the state. 32M was having trouble keeping up with the pack, and he was seen feeding on an elk carcass in someone's pasture. He was having difficulty getting up and walking quite slowly when he decided to move. 32M lived out his final months solitary in a small area between the Teanaway and Nanum Pack territories, what appeared to be old age. He was at least 12 years old, which is old for a wolf. This was as good an end for 32M as anyone could hope for, the patriarch of wolves recolonizing the Central Cascades. Beyond him, though, wolf recovery continues in Washington's Central Cascades as we continue to monitor the new members of the Teanaway, the Nanum, and potentially other new packs.
Now let's check in with Dan Kuntz for a look at what's coming up tomorrow morning on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Dan?
Thank you very much, Grant. Tomorrow is Friday. Looking forward to Friday because, of course, they're followed by the weekend. And tomorrow we'll talk about the Walk to End Alzheimer's. It's still going to be happening next month in September, but obviously, like everything else that's going on in this COVID world that we're living in, they've made a few changes for the Walk to End Alzheimer's, but the cause continues. And we'll talk to one of the organizers of the Walk to End Alzheimer's coming up on tomorrow's edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Plus your weekend weather forecast. We'll preview Saturday night at the WVSO and everything you need to start your weekend. Live and local tomorrow at 7 a.m. for Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll see you then. Grant, back to you.
Thank you very much, Dan. And that's going to do it for our newscast tonight. For more on these stories and other news from around North Central Washington, you can find us on Facebook or our website at ncwlife.com. And remember, if you see news happening, we'd like to hear from you. You can send us an email, at news@ncwlife.com, or give us a call at 888-6295. I'm Grant Olson. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.
That I saw from Works reminded me about what a great company this has always been.
While some businesses have probably just tried to hunker down and survive, Blair and the team at Works have said this is an opportunity to become even better, to give more value to our members. I think it's amazing.
Blair's attitude is safety first.
I just really appreciated feeling like I wasn't forgotten about.